Yo, what's good? Top of the top, episode 203, Stash House Podcast. Your boy Tyler checking in. First time listeners, thank y'all for tuning in. If you tune in weekly, salute. And just an episode, saw some topics you may want to hear about. Salute to you as well. Like, share, subscribe, retweet. Whatever you do to help support the podcast, greatly appreciate it. All streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. All the streaming platforms you find podcasts at, make sure you check us out. Leave comments, leave feedback, put your people on. Once again, greatly appreciate all the support for the podcast. Let's start with Ja Morant. Ja Morant, if you've been under a rock these past couple weeks, NBA star Ja Morant played for the Memphis Grizzlies. Been in some controversy lately. I could have came last week and talked about it, but it was a situation where I wanted to see how the league was going to respond to it. So let's get to it. And before I really get into the knee-deep of the situation, I'm not here to tell nobody what they should have did. I'm not here to tell y'all what I would have did in this situation. That's not what I'm here for. These past couple weeks, everybody's had an opinion about it. It got to the point where people was like, checking each other background, like doing background checks on people. And I'm like, yo, fam, when it gets to that point, that's when I go blind to the situation. It's like, come on now, it's not that serious. But I'm here to focus more on how to turn this negative situation into a positive for Ja Morant. It seems as if, in terms of courtroom, situation, I'll say, it seems to be clear for him. I don't think no charges or anything. I think they're saying evidence is small to none. So I think he's clear in terms of jail time, possible jail time. So, like I said before, I feel more comfortable coming in and trying to figure a way to turn this negative into a positive for Ja Morant, because I am a fan of Ja Morant. I made no secret about it. I do have the Memphis Grizzlies coming out the West. It's not the end of the world. We all make mistakes. We made mistakes when we were broke. We made mistakes when we had a little money in our pocket. Mistakes happen. How you come back from those mistakes, that what matters most, in my opinion. So let's get to it, man. Ja Morant. First, let's start with the incidents that's happened over last summer. The situations from last summer, which he was not charged with, by the way. So really, this is all he say, she say. So let's get to that first. Last summer, the first situation was at the mall. Long story short, his mom was at the mall at Finish Line, I believe they said, and she had a situation with the employee. It got to the point where she had to call Morant. Ja Morant and his people pulled up looking for the employee, and for what they said in reports, it came to the point where Ja was like, yo, what time he get off work? That's all I got from that situation. That's all I see in the reports. Like, his mom had a situation at the mall. Him and his people pulled up. They were looking for the employee. I guess the employee felt threatened, whatever the case may be. So that's where that situation stems from. And supposedly 4 days later, which I didn't know after doing research, I didn't know it was 4 days later, the next incident happened where it was a pickup game at Ja Morant's house with the local high school basketball player. They said the guy was 17 years old. Long story short, pickup game, got very intense. The guy went to check Ja Morant the ball. The ball ended up hitting Ja Morant in the face. I guess they said Ja Morant allegedly punched the kid, and it led to the point where Ja Morant had to pull his gun out. And while seeing more reports about this, it's saying Ja was saying, yeah, the ball hit me in the face, but then the kid approached him as if he wanted to fight. And I guess Ja was acting in self-defense. And then he said, the kid verbally said he'll, quote, light this house up. After he left, he'll, quote, light this house up. So random situations I can agree with. Chaotic situations I can agree with. But at the end of the day, you are Ja Morant. You got to realize the position you in. You are in Nike commercials, Powerade commercials, whatever the case may be. You're a very popular NBA star. Now, like I said, I'm not here to talk about what I would have did or what Josh should have did. But I do have opinions about these situations. Like, you got to move like you Ja Morant at the end of the day. I do agree with that. That's as far as I'm going to go in my opinion on what Josh should have did. I'm going to just say you do got to realize who you are and you got to move a certain way. So that's what I got to say about those situations. Now, Instagram Live is where things took a turn for the worse for Ja Morant, in my opinion. Yes, the accusations came out, But at the same time, they were accusations from last summer, and he was never charged with those. And so long story short, I guess they had a game in Denver, an away game in Denver. After the game, whatever, him and his people, I don't know who he was with actually. They was at a club. I heard it was a strip club. I don't know if it was a regular club or a strip club, whatever the case may be. He was on Instagram Live, and a gun appeared in the Instagram Live. Now, did he hold up the gun? Because I was seeing theories about that. Well, the gun, he's left-handed, and the gun was over. I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? A gun appeared. A gun appeared in the Instagram Live, and Ja was like flaunting it, or somebody was flaunting it. And then that's when everybody was like, yo, come on, Ja. Now, that's when I was like, yo, come on, bro. Now, I get it. It's been a thing on Twitter for the past year or so. I'll say that. I'm surprised nobody brought this up. But it's a thing where people tweet like Ja Morant. Like, I'm going to pull up on the block on my op. Like, Ja be tweeting some wild shit. Like, I don't know if it's song lyrics or what, but he's one of those tweeters where it's like people can make fun of how he tweet. And it was like, fam, you're a basketball player. You're an NBA star. You don't got to tweet like this. But with that, on top of the accusations, it wasn't a good look. It was not a good look, and I didn't even think about it till probably 2 days later when the question was around, like, yo, if that his gun, how did he get it to Colorado? Did he bring it on the plane? Did he whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop? So that's when things got a little interesting. The NBA saying they was investigating it or whatever the case may be. And as far as we know right now, is little to no evidence to show that was Ja Morant's gun. So he seems to dodge charges in that at the time being while I'm recording. I don't know what's going to happen between now and by the time you guys hear this episode, but it seems like he might be clear out of any charges with the gun. And the Memphis Grizzlies beat the NBA in terms of actions, taking action against Ja Morant. They saying, yo, he's going to be away from the team for a while, for about 4 or 5 games. Relax, we got him. Him being Ja Morant and everybody like, yo, do you got to carry a gun with you on away games? Like, what's the situation? You got different journalists and different former players saying, yo, the NBA know every movement you do. They got people on the FBI. I was like, yo, this took a turn from the accusations to the gun showing up on Instagram Live. It was like, damn, Ja Morant's like public enemy number one, damn near, the way they was talking like how the NBA got surveillance. And I was like, yo, I did not expect to get this information from this Ja Morant situation at all. But the Memphis Grizzlies, they jumped. You know, they put the PR statement out for Ja Morant, his team. They got to work. I'm sure they got events lined up in the future to help clear his image, clean his image up a little bit. That's what PR do. That's why you hire them. They're there to keep your image clean. So people was like, yo, this statement don't sound like Ja Morant. It's not supposed to sound like Ja Morant. That's what the PR team is there for. You think they're going to write exactly what Ja Morant wanted to say? Like, no, they're going to make it look as clean as possible. That's their job. So coming from this situation, you got a lot of people with different opinions about it. And like I said, I'm here to turn a negative into a positive for Ja Morant in the best possible way I can. And the first thing I want to say to Ja Morant, great thing he in the NBA. Why? He got people he can call on who know exactly what he going through in terms of being a young NBA star. You're sponsored by Nike. You're on different commercials. The women love you. Your team is one of the favorites to possibly come out the West or end up winning the NBA Finals. You got different players you can call, current players, former players. Hey, man, it's a lot of pressure on me right now. You know, the life is moving fast for me right now. What should I do? What advice you got for me? He can call on LeBron. You don't think – they're not going to say it on ESPN, but you don't think players have reached out to Ja Morant and give him words of encouragement? You got LeBron James. You got Steph Curry. You got Jason Tatum. You got different players in the league you can call on to, like, ask for help. And I'm saying different players around the league because you saying, yeah, Ja Morant, he got teammates, but Memphis is one of, if not the youngest team in the NBA. Like, the OG on the team is Steven Adams, and I even know Steven Adams, he's only 29. He looked about 40. But Steven Adams only 29. And they were saying, yo, he was giving words before the whole Instagram Live situation in the locker room. But when they was like, yo, he only 29 years old, fam, Ja Morant, he's going to probably listen, taking as consideration what you're saying. But at the end of the day, it's not like a Udonis Haslam or somebody like that, a real OG. You making so much money and life coming fast. You're going to do what you want to do at the end of the day. And that's why I want Ja to realize, it's like, I understand life moving fast. You got all this money. The women love you. That never really helps the situation when you got women in every city, every state probably want to grab at you and all that. So I get it. I totally understand. But, man, you got to move accordingly. It's a reason why we salute LeBron so much in his career off the court more than we really do on the court. Off the court, man, you ain't never heard no scandals, nothing like that besides a Pusha T song that I'm not going to mention. But you really never heard nothing about LeBron. Like, he's been a stand-up guy. And I'm sure he's had temptation around him his whole career as well. But Morant, it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. Like I said, no charges seem to be getting filed or anything. It seems like he's going to be in the clear. Once he come back, focus on ball, man. Focus on playing basketball. Then the question came up, well, who he surrounded himself with off the court. Of course, at the games, you see his dad, front row, every home game, some away games. It got to the point where people were like, yo, his entourage, you might got to switch it up. In the great words of Nip Hussle, circle got smaller. Everybody can't go. Like I said, I'm not here to say what I would have did or what he should have did in these situations, but you got to have people around you to be like, hey, dog, I don't think you should do that. Like, you need somebody as a voice of reason around you. And like I said, I'm not here to say his dad not around. I'm sure his dad has given him words throughout this time and before this. I'm not here to say what's going on in everybody's household. Like, he bought his parents a mansion next door to his. You living the dream right now. It's time to look around, look at your team, like, who got my best interest. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like for the 17-year-old, he asked his friends, like, yo, should I do it? And they was like, yeah, go get the gun. Whatever the case may be, I think that's why I heard on ESPN. Like, he asked his friends, like, what, y'all think I should do it? Like, your friends be like, man, hell no, bro. Hey, 17-year-old, hey, where your ride at? It's time for you to dip. Hey, Ja, go in the crib, relax a little bit. You know, things got a little bit too intense for a pickup game. Relax. So you need people like that around you. And who says that he's not looking? He's thinking this the time he should be sitting back thinking what I need to do different, who I need to have around me, who I don't need to have around me. I totally agree with that. It's time to focus. Like, it's life coming fast. It's time to focus. So moving forward, I think Ja has learned from this situation. Hopefully he's learned from this situation. He's going to come back, play basketball. Of course, probably for the first 2-3 games, it's still going to be questions about how he feel, about everything that's transpired. But most importantly for Ja, that I know of, he has a daughter. He has a daughter to think about. And I think he's one of them guys going to be like, okay, I messed up. This is my second chance. I can't do this again. I got a daughter to think about. I got a family to take care of. I'm the breadwinner of my family. My team is in great position right now to do some amazing things with the NBA playoffs and possibly the NBA finals. Let's get to work. To put all my distractions behind me, my team, in terms of my entourage and my professional team, PR team, manager, agent, whatever the case may be. Set up things for me in the future that's going to show, hey, I'm not as off the wall as the people making it seem. Next time I want to have a mentorship or something with a high school player, let's put it in a gym where people are at. Don't bring him to my house. You just got to move accordingly. I think I believe Allen Iverson probably is going to reach out, if he hasn't already, to Ja Morant. Hey, man, I know exactly what you're going through. Let me talk to you real quick. A regular person can't tell Ja Morant how to react in these situations. He need an NBA star who knows what it's like to be on the road, getting paid that much money, his new contract about to kick in next season, getting that much money, getting that much spotlight. He's one of the few faces that people see in the future being the face of the league. He needs to talk to people who understand his situation. And I think he's doing that right now. And I think in the future he's going to do that way more than he did before this situation. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ja Morant back on the court. He's a very exciting player to watch. Like I said before, I had the Memphis Grizzlies coming out the West. So I'm looking forward to his return, and hopefully he take this as a learning experience, which I think he will going forward. Now, with some music news, I was very excited to see this over the past couple of days on Instagram. Producer Hit Boy, I talked about him a few times recently on the podcast in terms of his projects with Nas, the King Disease trilogy, and the Magic Project. And just check Hit Boy credits. He has a lot of production placement on some very, very classic records as well. But this past week, last week on Instagram, Rory, formerly from the Joe Budden podcast, now with Rory and Maul podcast, he posted on Instagram, he was in the studio with Hit Boy, and Hit Boy was playing him a record that ended up being a Hit Boy and Alchemist record, which I'm going to talk about as well. But in the verse, Hit Boy was rapping. He was calling out producers. That's how I took it. He was calling out producers, Metro Boomin, Southside, Hitmaker, and I want to say, I couldn't hear the third one, I believe he stated. I want to say it was Mustard, probably, DJ Mustard. I could be wrong, but I want to say it was Mustard. But while he was calling them out, he was saying, yo, Metro, I never met him. He never made a boom bap beat. Southside, I never heard a Southside beat without an 808. Yo, Hitmaker, he really took some shots at Hitmaker. He was like, yo, I do him like Trick, Snatch him, whatever, flip the beat because Hitmaker got his chain snatched years ago by Detroit guy Trick, and Hitmaker is known for just flipping classic R&B records and all that. So he was taking shots at them, and it ended up being a song with him and Alchemist. It was a 2-part song, I'll say that. Alchemist produced one beat, Hit Boy rap over that. Hit Boy produced a beat, Alchemist rap over that. It was dope to see that as well because both of them, they produce and little people know that they rap as well, so that was dope to see. But what I take from it go back to what I was saying, like I'm ready for new sounds. I talked about Coop last week with the Young Nudie project, how that production just evolve over the time. Like that's what I want to see. Now I don't want to see Metro hearing that and saying, oh, now I got to try a boom bap beat. I don't really want to hear Metro Boomin try a boom bap beat. Now, if he come out and say, yo, this Friday, me and Benny, the Butcher, got a record coming out, I'm just guessing it's going to be boom bapish, but I don't really want to hear a Metro Boomin boom bap. And it's rumors that Metro Boomin in Future working on a collab project. That's what I want to hear from Metro. And Metro just put out an amazing album at the end of last year, which he took his sound. Like you can see he's evolving his sound. That's the one thing from this Hit Boy call out I didn't rock with. Like I don't want to hear Southside beats without 808s. I don't want to hear Metro try boom bap. I'm more interested in seeing producers taking their sound to the next level. You don't got to cross over and try to do this when that's not your style. But the thing that brought on this, which I figured out later on in the day, was that Hitmaker and Jim Jones had an interview. They just dropped a project too as well called Back in My Prime, Jim Jones and Hitmaker. And during the interview with Ebro, I think Ebro was like, yo, you and Hit Boy, y'all two of the top producers in the game right now, whoop de whoop. Hitmaker was like, yeah, but only one of us is on the radio. And everybody was looking at Hitmaker like that's not all respect to the radio. I understand what radio has done. I was a huge fan of the radio growing up, but radio hits nowadays don't really hold up too much weight, in my opinion, especially when you're talking about Hit Boy, who just won a Grammy with Nas. That's why I didn't understand Hitmaker argument, and both of their names got hit in it, so try to keep up. Hit Boy is the one with Nas. Hitmaker is the one who remake beats. But Hit Boy, him and Nas had a great run. They having a great run because I think there was like another King disease could be coming soon. So they've been on an amazing run, and you trying to shoot at Hit Boy with but your song's not on the radio. It's a dumb argument for me with Hitmaker and with Hit Boy calling him out for flipping beats. Once again, on this new project with Jim Jones, out of all the records, I want to say maybe 99.9 of the beats are remakes, and it's not like, and y'all know me, I said I'm tired of the samples and whatnot. Alchemist does samples. Like you go on YouTube right now, search Alchemist. His whole studio is filled with vinyls. But Alchemist is the type of person who do a sample. He'll take like a quarter second of a song I never ever heard of before by somebody I never ever heard of before and use that in the sample compared to Hitmaker, who you would think probably go on Google and just type in what was the hottest R&B songs in 1998. He'll take the most popular R&B songs and just flip them. And that's lazy to me. Like I'm tired of it. Like, yeah, the song he had, I don't think he did the one with Wale and Jeremiah a couple years ago, but if you go on YouTube right now and search Hitmaker and you hear the beats that he's produced, It's like, fam, okay, this is clear. You just taking a popular song from the 90s or the 80s or the early 2000s, just making them more 2022, 23-ish. It's like, it's lazy at this point. And it goes back to my argument with the JD and Diddy, which are verses who I'm still waiting. They do that verse with JD and Diddy. JD main argument was, yeah, Puff has produced some amazing songs over the years, but I'm JD. I'm actually touching the boards. I'm writing these songs, and that's Hitmaker thing as well with that's Hit Boy thing as well with Hitmaker. Like, yo, Hitmaker, you can't get on these boards and do what I do. That's what Hit Boy is saying. Like, you can't do what I do, so don't even come in my territory. Like, I'm doing this in all friendly competition, but don't make it personal because you're gonna embarrass yourself. That's what Hit Boy is saying. And I agree with Hit Boy. I agree. And like I said, from this, I don't want Metro to get the idea of, or let me try boom back to show them I can do it. No, just evolve the sounds. That's been my main thing with music for the past 2-3 years. Like, I'm ready for a new sound to come. Shout out to Coop. I just mentioned him last week with Young Nudie. Shout out to the people who worked on Don Tolliver project. It's some producers out there that's ready and willing to take their sound to the next level. Link up with Mike Dean. I feel like that's a cheat code. Link up with Mike Dean. I feel like your sound's going to evolve a little bit as well. So I like what Hit Boy did. It was a different way of calling people out. It's not like a rapper calling out rappers. It was a producer who raps calling out other producers. So that was dope to me, and I want to see where it goes. Like I said, he did a record with Alchemist. I think that's dope. I would love to see them two collab more often on production as well. So I'm ready to see where it goes. I love the energy, but Hitmaker, you might just got to take this one on the chin. In my opinion, I think Hitmaker probably got to take that one on the chin because, like I said, out of all the production you hear Hitmaker on, more than likely it's a flip of a classic R&B record that everybody loves. It's not even like a B-side R&B. It's like the most popular R&B song. Like, he just flip it, and, you know, whether the song turns out good or not, it's still just a flip of a classic R&B song. So do with that information as you will. If you haven't already, please look into this. It's a very important discussion that's going on right now in terms of music world on Twitter. And once again, I'm just ready for different sounds, different vibes, and hopefully this brings out something coming to the summertime and the springtime for sure. So this has been episode 203 of Stash House Podcast. Make sure you guys go out, have a great work week, a great school week, get your money, stay out the way, drink plenty of water. Keep me in your prayers. I do the same for y'all. Salute.